I don't really know too much what I want to talk about, but we're just gonna talk. So, yesterday was my solo return. I am entering my 22nd year of life on this earth, this reality, whatever you want to call it. It was a great day. This past year has been life changing, and to put it simply, life changing, transcendent, awakening. There's so many words that I could use for this past year, but at the beginning of it, you could say it was a lot of love that I was feeling and experiencing that I've never felt before. And that followed with a lot of heartbreak. It followed with a lot of painful realizations of like me seeing, thinking I've been healing certain things and not even really grazing the surface with it for real. So having to bring my attention to those wounds, tend to those wounds, followed with an even more divine love, self-love, unconditional, real, raw, authentic shit. And then falling on my fucking ass because kind of gripped too tightly onto, external validation from, those concepts and gripping onto form too much rather than instead of being with the actual presence of it, let me say. And then that called for me to really address the ways I go about love, address the ways I handle love, the ways I perceive love. It called for me to be more real with myself when it comes to my expression. Ooh, and it's funny because last year, March 27th, 2022, I was I was hiding a lot. And I could feel myself hiding, but was like not ready to face, not brave enough to come out of hiding. And that was something I like slowly this past year have had to work with in increments, like just slowly becoming louder and louder with the ways that I present myself and removing layers. That's been a big part of, I feel like that's the main purpose of all this shit, to just unfold, removing the masks, removing the boxes that I continuously choose to place myself in. It's come with a task of me ultimately having to take ownership of myself and this journey that I'm deciding to partake in wholeheartedly, and not just as timid as I once was before. Like, yeah, I know I have to do it, but like, it's just what I had to do type shit. Like, I'm burdened with it. No, like, I'm picking up all this shit in my hand, scooping it up like, all right, let's get to fucking work. And learning to, I'm gonna leave that where it's at. So something I came to the realization the other day was I've been reading this book called Love and Awakening, Discovering the Sacred Path of Intimate Relationship by John Wellwood. And really good read, like 10 out of 10 recommend. Something he talks about in the book is how in relationships, your partner is your greatest teacher. And y'all basically serve as mirrors to each other, and you guys are tasked in bringing out, each other's true selves to really deal with what you've been like hiding underneath the surface. I probably did not explain that well, but I'm gonna read something in chapter 8 talking about turning lead into gold. As two people's love for each other penetrates their hardened defenses, it brings to light hidden negativities, raw edges in themselves and in their relationship that they would rather keep hidden away in the dark. When we live alone, we develop strategies for ignoring these raw edges, but when we live with someone we love, we can no longer hide from ourselves like this. And basically, that can sum up the premise of this book, learning how to work with that, how to recognize, each other's, how the other person is triggering you, and ultimately be in a relationship that's conscious enough to bring you back to yourself, your real self, the self that you've been neglecting or repressing, pushing away, turning away from, whatever you want to call it, however you see that dance, working itself out. And back to what I was saying about the partner being your teacher, your greatest teacher, I don't really have anyone who I am in any sort of committed relationship where we interact with each other on that kind of basis as frequently as I would like to, have this sort of dynamic and be like, okay, anyway, I'm not in a relationship is what I'm saying. And as I was reading this book, it was a thought that I had that was like, I need commitment. I want commitment. And when it first came out of me, I was thinking of like an individual, like, okay, we're committed to each other and we're going to help each other, like, come back to ourselves. We're going to help each other heal. This is going to be a conscious relationship. But then I took the time to sit and ask myself, who is it that's asking for commitment right now? And when I sit and I feel in my body where that need is coming from, and I listen to who's actually saying it, I'm realizing that it's a part of me that I've been, neglecting and that I have not been committed to. And she's saying to me like, hey, I need you to commit to me in terms of like my discipline and my practices, being a yogi wholeheartedly and not being timid with that shit like I have been previously, taking myself more seriously with the desires that I have and the things that I know are no longer serving me, learning to let that shit go because I'm failing to commit to my vision for myself, basically. Commit to my purpose. And it's crazy because after I came to that realization, I just was like sitting with that part of me, right? Sitting in a place of compassion and understanding and giving her that, commitment and attention that she's been asking for. And I don't know if I had posted a video about it or if I just recorded it and it never went anywhere. But I also lately have been kind of trying to have less noise around me, be more comfortable just engaging in my surroundings rather than like, I love music, so I'll always have my headphones on and just go into a whole nother world. But, when I go on my walks to work, I'm just like listening to the cars, listening to the birds, listening to the wind, listening to my breath, listening to horns and anything that arises. I'm just like letting it all pass, experiencing all of it. As I'm coming to this realization about commitment, right? I'm getting off track. I'm on my way to work after this, and I'm not listening to music. I'm just walking, and I'm sitting with this feeling, right? I'm sitting with myself. I'm like feeling the urge to have my direction pulled here, there, and just leave. I keep leaving. And I was just using as much of my energy to remain in that seat, sitting with myself. And I was like, I'm really not used to this much attention. I've been asking for it, externally, wanting it externally, But as I'm sitting here giving it to myself, like, this is a lot of fucking attention. It's a lot of work. And how can I expect somebody else to fulfill all of this when I am struggling to do it just on my own? When it's not even something that I've been able to give myself. And yeah, that's kind of just where I'm at, honestly. Like, learning to cultivate this presence with myself, this love, this compassion, this commitment to myself. And ultimately, I feel like this is what my journey this year is going to be like. A beautiful journey, nonetheless. It's going to be intense. It's going to take a lot of bravery and strength and will. But if anyone can do it, I can do it. I'm coming to terms with a lot about the way my life experiences have unfolded and the constructs, the conditions, the boxes that I put myself in, the situations I've remained stuck in terms of accepting true intimacy, in terms of relinquishing control, loving and being loved, experiencing, feeling my emotions, allowing myself to feel my emotions. That's a big one. I have my Chiron and my 8th house at a Scorpio degree, a lot of Pluto energy, and it's in Capricorn. So Pluto and Saturn just really, really playing real heavy in my chart and affecting me. A lot of repression, a lot of manipulation, not much openness, very guarded, intimately. And my Pluto's retrograde. So very, very, very fucking guarded. That's something I really want to work with this year. I'm not placing any expectations of myself in terms of what things should look like. But I just know every moment I'm going to work. I'm going to work in just being there for myself. I was at a conversation with somebody the other day, and talking about like what I desire in the future, that being devotion and commitment. And he, unknowingly, people be dropping gems on me, and I'm just like, eating that shit. Nigga was like, how can you want somebody to give that to you when you are not embodying that, you know? And that's kind of something I've been slowly understanding, you know, steady putting myself in situations where it's like, no. So I'm kind of like, all right, none of this shit is working out. Let me get to what I need to do. But that was definitely the confirmation that I needed. Like, go ahead and get right. Go ahead and get right. For surely. But sure. It's going to be a good year, y'all. And by good, I mean divine. My 10th house year, y'all. I can't wait to see what this shit look like. And I thank you for being patient. I thank you for being present. Even when you're not present, I thank you for finding your way back. Thank you for loving me even when I struggle to love myself. I just thank you, truly. Thank you for being real with me when I struggle to be real with myself. Thank you for showing me, pushing me, showing me, really. You don't even gotta say too much because I see it and I hear you. And I thank you.